Greetings, fellow gardeners, and welcome back to the Humus Heritage. If you've been following along on our journey toward more sustainable, less labor-intensive gardening, then today's revelation is going to absolutely transform the way you think about soil management. I'm beyond excited to share this game-changing method with you because it's one of those rare discoveries that sounds almost too good to be true, yet delivers results that will make you wonder why you ever spent another weekend hauling bags of mulch. Imagine a world where you scatter just 2 specific seeds and your garden takes care of itself, no mulching required. Sounds too good to be true, right? Prepare to have your mind blown as I reveal this incredible, time-saving secret that will change the way you garden forever. We're talking about a method that harnesses nature's own intelligence to create a self-sustaining system that protects your soil, feeds your plants, and eliminates the back-breaking work that has defined traditional gardening for generations. Let's be honest with each other for a moment. How many spring mornings have you woken up with that familiar sense of dread, knowing you need to spread mulch across your garden beds? The endless trips to the garden center, loading bags into your car, the physical strain of hauling those heavy bags around your property, and then the monotonous work of spreading it all evenly while trying to avoid your precious plants. And just when you think you're done, you realize you've underestimated how much you need, and it's back to the store again. This cycle repeats itself year after year, consuming your time, your energy, and your budget. But what if I told you there are 2 simple seeds that could eliminate mulching forever? What if the solution to weed suppression, moisture retention, and soil enrichment wasn't something you needed to purchase by the bag and spread by hand, but rather something that would grow itself exactly where you needed it? This isn't some futuristic fantasy or complicated permaculture technique that requires years of study. This is a straightforward, accessible method that works with nature's own systems to create what experts call a living mulch, and it all begins with understanding the remarkable properties of 2 humble yet powerful seeds, Phacelia and buckwheat. Let me introduce you to the first hero of our story. Phacelia, this fast-growing annual, is nothing short of miraculous when it comes to soil care. Phacelia establishes quickly, sending down a robust taproot system that breaks up compacted soil while its feathery foliage creates a dense canopy that shades out competing weeds. But here's where it gets really interesting. As Phacelia grows, it doesn't just occupy space, it actively heals your soil. Its extensive root system adds organic matter deep into the soil profile, creating channels for water and air movement that will benefit your future crops. When autumn arrives and frost takes this tender annual, it dies back naturally, creating a protective blanket over your soil throughout winter. Come spring, you can simply incorporate the decomposed plant matter directly into your beds, where it releases a bounty of nutrients including nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And let's not forget the spectacular purple-blue flowers that attract an army of beneficial pollinators and predatory insects to your garden ecosystem. Now, let's talk about buckwheat, the second member of this dynamic duo. If Phacelia is the gentle healer, buckwheat is the aggressive defender. This fast-growing grain establishes so rapidly that it outpaces virtually every weed that dares compete with it. Within just a few days of germination, buckwheat seedlings emerge, and within a couple of weeks they've created a thick, leafy canopy that effectively blocks sunlight from reaching the soil surface below. Weed seeds need light to germinate, and buckwheat denies them that essential resource. But buckwheat's talents extend far beyond simple weed suppression. Its roots exude compounds that help mobilize phosphorus in the soil, making this essential nutrient more available to subsequent crops. When you eventually cut back the buckwheat before it sets seed, those stalks and leaves don't need to be removed. They stay right where they fall, decomposing into a natural mulch that continues protecting and feeding your soil. The real magic happens when you understand the synergy between these 2 plants. Phacelia and buckwheat have different growth patterns, root structures, and life cycles that complement each other perfectly. When scattered together, they create a diverse living carpet that provides all the benefits of traditional mulch while simultaneously improving your soil in ways that wood chips or straw simply cannot match. They work as a team, with buckwheat providing quick coverage and aggressive weed suppression while Phacelia offers longer-term soil building and pollinator support. Now that you understand what these seeds can do, let's talk about how to put this knowledge into action. The beauty of this method lies in its simplicity, but there are a few key steps that will ensure your success. First, you need to prepare your soil properly. Though not in the way you might think, you don't need perfect tilth or carefully prepared seedbeds. In fact, one of the advantages of this technique is that it works beautifully on rough, newly cleared ground. What you do need is to remove any existing large weeds or vegetation, either by cutting them down or lightly disturbing the top inch or two of soil. The goal is to give your cover crop seeds good contact with the soil without providing too much competition from established plants. When it comes to scattering technique, think of yourself as a traditional farmer broadcasting seed. Take generous handfuls of your phacelia and buckwheat mix and cast them across your prepared area in wide, sweeping arcs. Aim for even coverage, but don't obsess over perfection. Nature is forgiving, and these vigorous growers will fill in any gaps quickly. A general guideline is to scatter enough seed so that you see them distributed across the soil surface, with spacing roughly the width of your fingers between seeds. After broadcasting, you can either rake the seeds lightly to incorporate them into the top quarter-inch of soil, or simply water them in thoroughly and let rain and natural soil movement do the work. Timing is absolutely crucial for success with this method, and this is where your local climate really matters. For most gardeners in temperate zones, late summer through early autumn is the ideal window for establishing your living mulch. This gives both phacelia and buckwheat enough time to germinate and establish substantial growth before winter temperatures slow their development. The buckwheat will likely succumb to the first hard frost, creating an immediate mulch layer, while phacelia, being slightly more cold tolerant, may persist longer before also dying back. In warmer climate zones where hard freezes are rare or absent, you can establish these cover crops throughout the autumn and winter months, taking advantage of mild temperatures and seasonal rains. The key is ensuring your seeds have adequate moisture for germination and at least 4 to 6 weeks of favorable growing conditions to establish properly. The transformation that occurs when you shift from traditional mulching to living mulch extends far beyond the obvious labor savings, touching every aspect of your garden ecosystem. Consider the ecological advantages that unfold once this system is in place. As your phacelia and buckwheat grow, their roots are constantly exuding sugars and other compounds that feed soil microorganisms. These microscopic workers multiply exponentially, creating a thriving underground community that improves nutrient cycling and soil structure. Earthworms, drawn by the rich organic matter, move in and begin their own important work of aerating and mixing the soil layers. Above ground, the flowers attract not just pollinators, but also parasitic wasps, hoverflies, and predatory beetles that help control pest populations naturally, reducing or eliminating your need for interventions. Water conservation becomes almost automatic with living mulch. The dense plant canopy shields your soil from direct sun exposure, dramatically reducing evaporation rates. Rain that falls on bare or traditionally mulched soil can sometimes run off or evaporate quickly, but living plants intercept that moisture, slow its movement, and help it infiltrate deeply into the soil profile. Their root systems create microscopic channels that allow water to penetrate further and be stored in the root zone where it remains available to future crops. During dry spells, this moisture retention can mean the difference between thriving plants and struggling ones, all without additional irrigation. Let's talk economics for a moment, because while the environmental benefits are compelling, practical considerations matter too. Calculate what you currently spend on mulch each season. Factor in not just the direct cost of materials, but also the fuel for trips to purchase it, any delivery fees, and the value of your own time spent spreading it. Now compare that to the cost of seeds. A pound of phacelia seed and a pound of buckwheat seed together might cost you $30 to $40, and they'll cover several hundred square feet of garden space. These seeds can often be saved from year to year if you let some plants mature and set seed, making subsequent seasons pretty much free. The return on investment is really staggering when you factor in all the additional benefits these cover crops provide, beyond just simple weed suppression. The journey we've taken together today represents more than just a clever trick to avoid spreading mulch. It's really about a fundamental shift in how we approach garden care, moving from a model of constant intervention and external inputs to one that works in harmony with natural systems. When you scatter Phacelia and buckwheat across your garden, you're not just covering soil, you're initiating a cascade of beneficial processes that build soil health, support biodiversity, and create resilience in your growing spaces. This is regenerative gardening at its most accessible, requiring minimal investment and delivering maximum returns. I encourage you to start small if you're skeptical. Just choose one bed or a section of your garden to trial this method. Watch what happens over the coming weeks and months. Document the differences you observe compared to your traditionally mulched areas. I'm confident you'll be amazed by the results and eager to expand this practice throughout your entire growing space. If this guide has opened your eyes to new possibilities in your garden, please take a moment to subscribe to the Humus Heritage so you won't miss future innovations and time-tested wisdom we share. Hit that notification bell to be alerted when we post new content, and please share this video with fellow gardeners who might benefit from this revolutionary approach. Together, we're building a community of growers who understand that working smarter, not harder, is the path to truly sustainable and abundant gardens. Until next time, keep growing and keep learning.